And first of all, welcome to this little keynote that is presented by Sample Culture. That's the company where I work. That's why we are all here today right now. I want to thank everybody who's been on stage, everybody who has been contributing so far with your 2 cents, with your opinion. We value this a lot. But the whole reason to be here today for us is to present a vision, a program that has been in the works for approximately a decade. So you have to imagine for 10 years or something, people, my colleagues, including the one that you have seen today before, were working on a vision. And we transformed that vision in a program. In order for me to explain this and to show you the program, I have to take you through a couple of steps and a couple of thinking possibilities. For that, I can imagine, especially people sitting right here in the audience, take notes, make pictures. Because actually, I will explain everything that happens in the culture and in community through a couple of slides, which is a rare occasion. Let me go from here to there. So you know, G.E.A.R stands for Grow, Elevate, Aspire, Your Role, but we don't say your because it's not a sexy thing. Otherwise you get a real weird word, right? You get G.E.A.R, G.E.A.R. So the program is called G.E.A.R and it's a real program. Coming 4 years, we're gonna do something new in this country, in the Netherlands, not only for Eindhoven, but for everyone else. But it comes from a certain experience. A lot of people all over the world, not only here, not only in Europe, experience the same. And I know it by talking through hundreds and hundreds of players in the community, dancers, people behind the screen and for the screen, that this is the basics of we find the truth in. Whether you call it the culture, hip-hop, whether you call it urban, for me personally is not a big issue. I think it's going to change all the time. In 10 years, it's going to be called something else. And in 10 years again, it's going to be called something else. I don't mind, I'm that old. What we do see are a couple of things that are true always for all those communities. We actually have no culture, we have a culture of cultures. Probably if you're looking right now, if you're sitting there, you might say, I belong to a breaking community, or whacking and voguing and ballroom community, or a funk style community, or a tricking or free running community, and we can keep counting them, all of the styles that you can dance with, all of the communities you can belong to. We are similar to tribes and families, not companies or corporates. It's very, I think for most of the people it's very evident. Oh, of course, they think, of course I'm part of the tribe. But actually, if we try to professionalize, we always become a company. That's an interesting thing, because there's no professional tribe, as far as I understand. There's also no paid family. You're not paid to be a family. So there already something happens, right? Now look further. A thing that happens a lot in the culture is that we lose our best brains. And if you don't know what it means that the smartest people, sooner than later, decide to leave. It means that if you are listening this, and you're watching it, and you're dancing right now, or rapping right now, are you still studying? After a short career, you will have another career somewhere else, somewhere in corporate, that will pay 10 times as much and give you all the stability our culture does not. So we lose, every 5 to 10 years, we lose the best and the smartest people, except the ones that work so hard, they work themselves and burn out, you know, all of them. And the other thing is we don't have the resilience to withstand external pressures. Now, I know it sounds a little bit complicated. What is an external pressure? Politics. If the politics decide today that urban culture is no longer interested, there will be no subsidy tomorrow. How do we combat that? Not really. Another good example is commercialization. If a company that sells certain drinks decides to take over the culture and you don't agree, what do you do about it? You don't agree. But structurally, we have no actual resilience, a way to prevent any company that would sell drinks or cigarettes or alcohol, well, that doesn't happen luckily, to not interfere and demand and give work to the people in the community. It means somehow our tribal family culture is not able to organize itself so we can say, we don't want this. Another example, the Olympics. The Olympic Games that has embraced breaking did not do it through our community. And I don't want to explain too long. Study the situation right now. It's not part of the history, it's just happening right now. I know collectively people are trying to unite, trying to invent a system that helps it, but still one of the biggest threats to our collective existence as a culture is from outside. Are the forces that are bigger than ours, and you have to imagine, you have to understand that today, at this day, these forces are becoming stronger and stronger. The more popular the culture becomes, the more popular those outside systems will abuse and use the culture. Whether it's TikTok that will demand the algorithm to move a certain way, or Spotify that will demand that the singers, right, will have to behave a certain way, we have trouble how to defend themselves. Well, that's the last one. So we're a culture of cultures. It's a good stuff, similar to tribes and families, but we do have tendency for brain drain and stagnation. Because of that, sometimes you see people cannot develop. And we have, as I explained, a lack of power to exist or to resist external influences. At Sample Culture, we thought, okay, that's a big topic, and I cannot fix Red Bull by myself. I also cannot call the Olympics and say, yo, you should do it in a different direction. We have not so much influence yet. But what we do have is an understanding that people in our community often don't know whether they're working or they are. Or people don't know that they have a role in the community or they work within the community. And it's very easy to differentiate one from another. Just go on the left and see your role. Role is a calling. Everybody who's been here, everybody hopefully who is watching, have felt the feeling of calling that says, I'm gonna be dancing, rapping, tricking, free running, street arting, graffiti. It's a calling, you feel it inside. It's not a job. Nobody recruited you to pay you a salary to do that. You wanted it yourself. Versus a job is a source of income. I mean, you could do voluntarily a job, but then it's volunteering, right? And then it's still a calling probably. But basically a job and its fundamentals a source of income. That's why I say, well, if you work somewhere, you should get paid. Social standing, if you do it right in a community, it doesn't matter what you earn, but your respect will rise. Correct me if I'm wrong. Nobody knows, I still don't know how much money my heroes earned. It was never the point. They rose in the social standing of the community because they were real, because they were awesome, they were champions. They did their thing, they became really good. Versus you build a career. Also very clear, you know, people that build great careers. They earn money, they become rich. Now, very interesting one is the role has an intrinsic value. You wanted it yourself, but the job is external pressure. We all have to earn money, right? Who works at Albert Time because it's their calling? It's going to be a hard one, right? Usually, and then the last one is familiarity and professionalism. So, communities within our roles, and that's what you are. Feel familiar. It means I very much feel like family of the people, and those people feel like family to me. Well, also they're my colleagues. Because I'm part of the community, with the role in a community, I continuously build families. Well, in a job, you want to be professional. You want to be good at what you do, you earn money, you make a career. Complete logic. So if we put those two together, and I put the verses in a community, we tend to do this all the time. We blend the one and the other, get disappointed if the one works and the other doesn't. Now, if you want to just do your own exercise, see how much of those points you are right now. Okay? Just a mental exercise. Now, see on which sides you are, and I'll tell you, in a perfect scenario, you are both. Makes sense, right? It's that easy. You're both. I am a community leader. I've been everything that you've been. I've been a champion. I've been an artist. But I am a community leader, and it's also my job. So I can go from one to another all the time. I feel I'm a professional, but I also build families. I'm respected in my communities while I'm making a career because I'm a director. Now, we said, look, this is actually the win-win-win scenario, right? And then let's look at this like, okay, so that's what we want. That's what we actually want, the whole scene everywhere in the world, in Europe, it doesn't matter where you are. Actually, that's what everyone wants. If you look from a magical perspective, you can make a wish, you wave a magic wand, you're a dancer, you think, you hope that this will happen. You become a professional dancer, you have a career, you have a social standing, you earn some money, you're a champion, you're respected, you're loved. So, remember those roles and jobs. We looked a little bit further and said, look, we see communities fail all the time. Today, you had a chance to see some of the community leaders and the good stories, but for every good stories, I can tell you 5 bad ones. And with bad ones, I just mean that people, because they exit, stop with the community. The breaking went through waves of popular, unpopular, popular, unpopular. Hip-hop went through waves of popular, unpopular. And we studied the cases. Why would it go popular and unpopular? If you're young, you're in the middle of a wave. Probably the dance you're doing right now is considered popular. That's why you do it. But after 20, 30 years, you see that this then there's a trend. And sometimes crews were popular, then solos are popular. Then crump became popular, then it became unpopular. Now electro is becoming popular, and new trends going to emerge, and I can predict in the 10 to 15 years it's going to be unpopular, right? Why? Well, because people sometimes do not either understand their roles or take them kind of too much. And before that, you just have to understand how many roles are there in a community. And can I check in with myself which role I am? You start with all 3. You are a leader, an artist, and a champion. And today we've talked a lot about artistry and leadership. Nobody yet talked about champions. Because that's even harder. It's the hardest one actually out there. Well, very, very compact. A community leader has a role in the background. It builds communities, organizes, and teaches. It's actually all the things you can do. But the very first one is the most important. They're not the sexy jobs. And if you want to be, let's say, champion and a leader, you're bound to explode. Because go all over to the down community champion has a role on the forefront winning competitions, starring in projects, teachings. They're the Red Bull winners, they're the stars in the movies, they're in the theaters. It's a very sexy role, it's in front. Combining both, it's really hard. You have to be a specific type of person to give all the credits away for your community, because usually people will burn out on those exact, junctions, the places where it all combines together. In the middle, there's also community artists. Artists are a little bit tricky. I do put it has a role in the background, but they create art, they make theater, they teach, but it could be both. If your marketing is right, you could be a very famous maker, very sexy on newspapers, right? But actually your role is to make theater. It's not to be on the stage dancing theater. And if you already see, okay, not my job, but my role, I'd like to be that role, it's already very helpful for your mental state. Now, at one point, I would say, if you're young and energetic, try all 3 before you find out which one you are. Just try all 3. Try to be champion, try some battles, right? Try to be an artist, make some art, and also help organize an event. That's how easy it starts. And somewhere, it might become a job. Well, today, as often in a lot of communities, thankfully, you see a lot of professional artists, professional leaders, and almost no professional champions. Being professional champion is something that maybe Menno does in dance community, right? And people also say, no, even he cannot just live on winning battles. That's how far we are from that scenario. Let me go further. Because then we did another trick and we started inventorizing how many programs finance that today. So imagine you have a role and you want to apply a subsidy, right? You want to get money. What's the greenest role you would like to take? I would advise you to go to community artists, because the role development is clear. If you can go to an artist academy where you will actually be trained as a maker or finish high arts to become a maker. If you look at the subsidies, mostly in Europe and in the Netherlands, they're all made for makers, right? That's why the knowledge that there is to become from a dancer to a choreographer is huge. Books upon books, you can become a choreographer. That's your number one career choice. Ping. Number two is in yellow, it's a community leader. How to develop is unclear. We do it, we teach each other, so each one teach one. But if you ask me what's the 5 steps of the community leadership in urban culture of the culture, then I will have like stories and anecdotes. I can share you my experience, you will share your experience, but there's not a system, not a program, there's no university education that you can follow to become a community leader. The poor career opportunities out there because there's no program that actually supports that. And poor funding opportunity is true because actually directly nobody supports leaders. But if you're a leader and you organize events in the future, obviously you can get funding. Career choice number 2. Number 1 is the artist, number 2 is the leader. Where are no career choices whatsoever, it's the champion. I also don't know how to become one, even though I've been one. I've been up to world champion. No idea how to become one. We kind of each one teach one, vibing. There's a lot of woo-ha things like tribal, and you can do it in 1,000 ways. Teach a champion to become a champion. Unclear. Poor career opportunity is actually my own understatement. There is no career. The only career you could have is maybe get a contract with Red Bull. Then we have in the Netherlands, we have a couple of actors. They manage to get themselves into the acting. And if you want to become like, I'm the star of the show type of dancer, congratulations. You either go to path number 1 or path number 2. Right? And there's also commercial dance that dances with artists, and all that stuff. But I'm not really considering that as a community champion, because factually, if you dance behind a certain star, you're dancing behind another champion. So understand what I mean, right? If you chose a very well-paying career opportunity, dancing for other people, which is good, you're officially not a champion. Well, so what we would do, if you see reality like that, you look at the Netherlands at least, and then you will see the most professionals right now, today, are what? Community artists. Everybody wants a theater piece. One of the other. That's the right. And of course, if the most funding goes to the artist, then most people will be artists. And then in between, we kind of try to put the community leadership in. We disagree in sample culture.
Ta-da.
Now let me show you something. It's a little bit complicated, but it's just my last slide. So if you got 3 roles, we're going to separate them in levels. And I really like games. I'm also the Open Your Mind director because I like games. Playing games is one of the most creative things you can do. So we basically gamified the whole idea. How do you develop yourself in these roles? And we wrote a very ambitious plan to a very big subsidy and got it for 4 years. And they said, you know what? Those roles things, we got this, man. Sample culture, you do that. You can now, for 4 years, help other young artists. You see what I did there? This is wrong. Young hip-hoppers or culture, we have to invent a new world, develop themselves in their role. Not in their job, but in their role. Meaning, for the first time ever, we will give opportunity not only to the artists, right? You go through your production house, so you apply for subsidy to get your piece. No, how about if you get coaching and subsidy for your community leadership? Now that's so far-fetched, we don't even know exactly every small detail because we're inventing it as we go. It means like this, look at this. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels. It's a basics of every talent development model. You're either amateur or professional. When do we see somebody professional? A professional is a mix of role and a job. It's done. A professional is both. Very good artist, professional artist. Very good leader, professional leader. Right? Very good champion, professional champion. And they are on the lock, and you see the medal, you won the game. You did it. You took some years, you worked hard, you tried different roles, but you did it. This is not what we're for. I'm actually explaining to you what we're going to do the coming 4 years for all of the country, and hope to inspire other countries to do the same, to empower our communities through the roles. Well, then there's the I with the 3 arrows. Those are all the people, usually young kids, that for the first time try to do something in the community. We don't target them. That happens naturally, it's part of our ecosystem. Part of the events, part of the theaters, that people will come in, watch, get inspired, and think, my God, I want to do this. Like the first timers. Then you go to amateur level, and this is where we unlock the role of the leader. We start helping the leaders of the future. Then you advance through advanced amateur and semi-professional, in which we help you with your role, but meanwhile learn you how to do your job. I'll repeat it again. We help you develop your role so you're psychologically sane, don't have to burn out, don't have to do the same mistakes that your pioneers did, but meanwhile teach you how to do your job better. Because you have to imagine, we do this not only just by coaching, but also give you the money to organize your community. This is actually the future step. It's a postgraduate program that you will follow for 3 years if you apply and we let you, to progress from amateur to advanced amateur to semi-professional, where the blur between your job and a role is already quite, like you earn some money, you make community events, you do something for your future, and then say, good job, bye-bye, you're now a professional. After 2 years, we will do the same for the champions. And by this, we might be the first program in Europe or in the world, I'm going to be careful by saying it, that says, we're going to help champions of the future to have money only to be a champion. No teaching. Don't need to do that. Imagine that back in the days. No organizing events. You don't have to be a theater maker. You're gonna find a way to be the best star, the best battler, the best whatever. It's actually everything my generation dreamt of. We finally, as a sample culture, try to achieve the coming 4 years, basically. And the community artists are the least of our worry, because European landscape is mostly built on artist subsidies. So if you would go to any big subsidy, it always subsidizes art. It should be my mic drop, but I don't have a mic in my hand. So I'm just going to do this, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.